do 2 peace signs. Hi. This is part 2. Thursday morning. I was just sharing about this book, some of the things I didn't like about reading this author's book, but, and then I did kind of that. Hey, it was really religious. Feeling the love, and this is a lot of guilt when reading Christian stories, because J.J. Murray has a Christian tone to his, but they're a bit more realistic in some ways to intimacy and language and lifestyle. Everyone's not a royal, or everyone's not a wealthy, rancher from 1800s, But I'm an old soul. I like that time period. I tell people I'm a doctor like that. Or I'm the village doctor. But I couldn't have done that in the 1800s, so it's almost like an oracle in a way. To do some spiritual work around that. I've had this idea, and I've shared most of this. What happened to my blood relatives? Not counting my kids, not counting my other family, like my partner. What happened? Alright, so my aunt used to call me after, if I called her, wish her happy holidays or whatever, it'd be sometimes 6-9 months before she called me back. And when I did talk to her, she always had someone on the other line, or her daughter. But I was in med school full time, and I was in additional programs in midwifery, naturopathy midwifery, or obstetrics, where we were on call 24/7, 365. And I told my aunt also that my kids are tired. My kids are at school and they're working when it's a holiday. You're on the East Coast. Please don't call us at 6 a.m. our time. Don't even call us at 9. It's 9 her time. She's calling us. Call my phone. People are trying to sleep. You got kids working at the mall. You got me doing births. You got people. You know what happens when you work at the mall around Black Friday? You gotta work crazy hours. Going in at 3 in the morning, coming home at 3 in the morning. I think they had a 2-hour downtime or something. Between 1 and 3 or something like that. Picking them up at 1. What happens when you ask somebody, please just call once. I got the same phone number I had since 2004. There's a house phone. Please don't call the house phone. There's a phone in every room. It wakes everybody up. So what did they do? They called both phones. Waking everyone up, hurt my feelings. Of course, the kids pulled the phone out of the vault. But when you had kids home alone, young adults, teenagers, adolescents, at that age, they had flip phones. It's not necessarily easy to get a hold of them via flip phone. And those things are easy, they get stuck in the couch cushions and left in coat pockets. Where's my phone? So I wanted a way to get a hold of them, and I wanted a way for them to get a hold of anybody. And use a fax machine, but that's a whole nother story. So it didn't work when I made the request, and if I was at a birth, or at work, or sleeping, or just not wanting to talk, I can look at my phone and say, hey, okay, I'll get back to them. When I want to get back to them, I'll get back to them. So my dad did the same thing, and I was at a birth, 2 or 3 births in a row, up for 48 hours, came home, dealt with the noise on the playground. It was hot, I think. they remodeled the house because of because of violations, code violations. So they cut out the windows and doors and patios, and they slapped them back together. So it's very drafty and noisy. So when people are outside talking, it feels like there's somebody in your house. like oh my gosh, you hear them. They're not in your house. Sometimes they are because they have a key to get in and they come in. Or if you leave the door unlocked, nightmare. That's a stolen that way. Oh, kicking myself. But ugh, this is painful. Anyways, back to the most painful thing. So everything is painful, but this is a notch more painful. I finally fell asleep about 9 something at night, and my dad, Friday night, my dad demands that I call him back immediately. I just fell asleep. I was exhausted. I was stressed out. You can be tired after birth, but for me, they call it a birth high, where your adrenals are going, and the hormones and everything is in the air of everybody, and the oxytocin is going, and it's just like stress. And your body and mind are exhausted, but your spirit and everything else, your emotions are like running. Thank God, especially even when things go right, things go wrong. If there's a complication, it's just more stress, lack of sleep during the event, driving all over town, out of state to go to births. So he called. I finally had to block him. I said, I'll just unblock it in the morning because I need to sleep. And I had a bunch of videos, which you should be able to see, that said, I'm going to reduce contact with toxic people and tell you how I feel. And a normal person who can discern can say, why would you even talk to people that are abusive or red flags or make you feel yucky? That's how I was raised. That's how I was trained. It was an unfortunate thing to come from an enslaved person. Yes, Sim. Yes, Sim. Do you really mean yes or yes, Sim? No. But you're not trying to be punished, And it's those stories where they put the enslaved person inside the ground for days. Nightmare. And I felt empowered a little bit empowered. So the next day, I think I kept it off. Okay, I think I left it blocked. And Sunday, I had a bunch of messages and missed calls. I had this happen with a classmate too. They called all night. I told them I was going to bed at 10. They were supposed to come over and help me clean at 3 in the afternoon. Like, I want to go to yoga. Oh, I want to hang out. How many people do you know that make plans and they're going to help you with something serious, and then they decide to do all this other stuff? Oh, no, let's not even talk about that. I only had a threshold for this amount of painful talk. One of the messages said, if you don't call me right now, I'm never talking to you again. And my dad's never talked to me again. And that was in 2016. And I think it was right after I told him to stop doing taxes, because I couldn't get any, I couldn't get my taxes. I was not required, but I would have gotten probably points, or because my income was so low. But my friend had low income, and she wasn't cleaned by another person, but she goes, oh, I got a couple $100 tax return back, and we worked at the same job. She's like, oh, it's worth it to me to get a couple $100. Some people are really good at doing their finances, but I was getting screwed over. So after that, I called my uncle. I said, oh my God, I had kind of falling out. And I'm not sure if I was talking to him about that. But I called his house phone. Usually his wife always answered. And if she answered, and he answered, and I said, well, I don't know what to do. This is uncomfortable. I said, please don't tell my dad any of this stuff. And my uncle says, you know what? As soon as I hang up this phone with you, I'm going to call your dad and tell him everything he said. I was terrified. And I had a crazy relative who said, don't even, just get rid of your phone, move out of state, don't tell anyone your phone number, where you live. This guy is dangerous. And people telling me stuff that his mom said after the war, Vietnam War. And I couldn't trust anybody, but I knew that he said, I'll never talk to you. Then people scolded me. When they scolded me, they also saw me in meetings. As the weeks and months went by, they said, you used to smile. Anyways, but now I actually see it in your eyes. There's a lot of changes happened to you since you shared about your dad. And I went and recommitted to my 12-step group, mainly AA, and then got into, did I say 2016? So it was 2019 that I learned about the Buddhist recovery groups. We did a real commitment of trying to go to meetings very often. I was still on call a little bit. Then I got the vending job, and I'd already been licensed with no patients, and I'd got like one actual patient that I couldn't figure out how to do the billing for. And I ended up having sponsors, not having sponsors, working the steps, going to meetings, meeting friends. But I'm not even sure that they're my friends. And keep giving people chances, and my red flag pointer right now is like, red flag, what are you doing? So, earlier than 2016 when this event happened, that's, again, that series that I was doing, I'm going to keep you guys posted on how it is, how I feel when I talk to these toxic people less. I was in the Fred Meyer, I shared this before, and one of my teachers was there, said they were going to take a kind of break from here and go be on a farm, a different farm, and different state, different terrain, different type of peace. And they said, I said, yeah, you know what, I'm going to delete some of these toxic people off of my Facebook. Because they said, if you want to know, keep contacting, you need to go on Facebook, which is the reason why I have Facebook, because one of my buddies from recovery is like, I'm not going to talk to you all the time. And they were smart. They used all their energy for their home. They got the home ownership program. They got their career. They had a job, and then education to career. In a very smart mood. Put energy in their kids. Put energy in their seeing their healthcare providers, and they kept it simple. They put all their energy. They want to do 5 things. They have 5 goals in life. I had like 10 million goals, and so I'm compared to that person, I'm not making it. I'm like really, really behind. It's actually disappointing, but in a way, it's also inspiring because they're a few years ahead of me in my recovery. So, but that person got me on Facebook. This other person, you want to know what I'm doing? You gotta get on Facebook. So they walked away and turned around and said, by the way, you said get rid of some of those toxic people. Get rid of all of them. Like, such a simple thing. There's a group I go to sometimes, and different groups, in person, not in person. There's toxic people in there. Last time I did it, which was recently, I felt extremely anxious. Wow. The next day was like on Bible when the bad guys would release some kind of spray, and everybody who walked into it just started arguing, getting mad and anxious and irate, and they would have to get an antidote. They'd have to do a lot of praying and meditating and get this antidote in order to break these people of this demonic. On the show for kids, it was a demonic possession of the person's mind. It was intense, and I know they made it goofy, but as an adult watching it, I was like, oh my god, you gotta break free from this bitterness, suffering, and anger. I'm not saying you can't have your anger and stuff, but for me, it's like other people can like come in and tweak, put a knife in my skin, put salt all over it, put the knife back in, and start twisting and pinching and doing all kinds of stuff. So I was scared to call and talk to my uncle and his wife, and I was trying to contact the police and everybody, the support groups for domestic violence hotline, and I had a nightmare every time, especially the domestic violence hotline, and my finances and my housing. I got in so much trouble with everything because of this. So much trouble. And I ended up just, I had to trudge through like a war zone. Like, you see, what's the Stanley Kubrick? Where's the one where they're all in Vietnam? Is it Full Metal Jacket or not? Anyways, it's like there's rubble and destruction. You gotta hide. And there's still stores and locals to talk to you, but it's like fires burning in buildings. And some people are sitting around playing cards, and others are like half their body's gone. Like it's like, oh my god, like. And I come from a line of war veterans, like of that PTSD, and dealing with their PTSD. Oh my gosh, alcoholism caused by different factors of trauma and oppression and addiction and genetics. It's like, and social acceptability too. It's like going through, I haven't been through a war zone, but imagine, like, that's the vision that popped in my mind, is like different levels of living or not living, and it's like you gotta run and be quiet and duck and be careful every corner you go around, but it's like there's fires and there's stuff falling out of the sky, and I had to trudge through that, and I'm still trudging through that. Even if people are distant. I couldn't sleep for 3 days. So because I took a hiatus and I started working more jobs, so I keep saying I was working some days 20 hours a day. My aunt and her daughter, who never talks to me, were calling me one time. I don't even know if they were leaving messages. At my jobs, I'm not looking at my phone. If I glance down and it's a family member that usually doesn't call me and knows I'm at work, then I get concerned, and I might say, let me check this. Or if I'm at my office and a patient, so I don't have a reception, if a patient is lost, or they're on their way, or they're not on their way, sometimes I just really want to look and just double check, like, that somebody's got the address right. You know, I don't like to do that, but, and sometimes it's annoying because someone might call over and over again, and I might have called the patient's insurance company and left a message, or, you know, that, so I'll start to be like, ooh, this phone number looks like it could be someone answering one of my questions that I don't want to miss, because people don't always leave messages, or they leave messages, or they can't leave messages because I have my phone full. So, for most part, I don't look at the phone, turn the ringer off. That's not even I wasn't even really seeing patients, but I was doing the vending job and Pizza Hut job, so I wasn't looking at my phone because I was busy working. I called once, they send the police to my house, whether I'm here or not. The police start yelling at me about how bad of a relative I am. Police start harassing all of my neighbors, everybody. I was a doctor, working a bunch of jobs, going to births, still trying to finish my requirements for the naturopathic birthing, and take care of my kids, taking my kids to school, taking my kids to work, going to doctors. I had a car accident, dental stuff, starting to be an adult, being in recovery at that time was that 9 years ago? No, 6 years ago. It's 13 years clean and sober. Still trying to just get on track. Rent was increased because of my dad. It was just an absolute mess. Bank account shut down because I asked a question at the bank and they shut my bank account. I didn't say to shut. I said, what would be the process? They said, oh, we already did it. Can you undo it now? This is an absolute nightmare. And it made it look like I took money. I was like, yeah, you need to return the money to him. But I'm not touching the money. Absolute nightmare. I said, send him a check or return the money digitally. They didn't do it. It made me look bad. It made me look bad. Rumors were started. In August, my aunt calls and leaves a message. I was out of town at work. I think with my partner driving and just all that traffic on the eastern and western shore of Maryland, and there's a Beltway and 95, I don't even know, around Baltimore, DC, and College Park and all those busy areas, and lots of construction and stuff. Commuter traffic. I saw that she had called, but I kind of was so busy hustling because most of my work took me out of town, and the funds, even if I got paid, I never got paid what I asked, but if I got paid a decent amount, that seemed fair for being under contract, it wouldn't even cover the time and the gas, and if I went and got a snack or whatever, the price of the renting the room and having to rebuy the equipment and the paperwork, and it didn't cover it. It didn't cover it, but something's better than nothing. So I think same thing happened. I waited till like Sunday, looked down at my phone, because I was busy working. I was like, oh, what if something's wrong with my relative? What if they died? And it was all about something I think my daughter, I think she already told me about. I already told my brother that there was a mix-up in some gifts with his kind of stepbrother to my daughter. I think my daughter told me, and I contact my brother, and my brother contact my aunt contacts me, and just said, oh, don't worry about it. We got it fixed. We're going to fix it. It was just an issue online, sending it to different places. Someone pushed the wrong button, or they sent it wrong. And I talked to my aunt, and I told her what's happening, and I felt sick. I felt like insane, doing the same thing, expecting different results. Never heard from her again. In August, I think it was 2022, actually. I never heard from her again. And I felt like she pried information that I didn't want to tell her. My kids are adults. It's not my job to. If my adult children want to contact them, I didn't talk bad about these people. I just try to keep in touch, send gifts, send cards, go visit them. They were the only people I visit them, and my dad, both the most toxic. But I found out that my uncle said she hated my guts. Despised me since pretty much the day I was born. Because I was smart. And my dad bragged. And then I went and killed a bunch of brain cells, so there's no reason for them to be jealous or upset. They got a very intelligent child who's just so successful and so well liked and has friends and a family and pets and just absolutely successful. The only other thing I can think of is I'm a tiny bit lighter skin color than these people. That's the only thing I can think of, like, because she mentioned something about my skin color, so I shared. My mom's relatives, they don't talk. When I talk, then it gets out of control, then I feel sick. Then I miss out on my own family, that my loved ones that we chat. The rest of my mom's relatives, the rest of my dad's relatives, most of them don't respond. They don't call. You send mail, you send cards, you leave messages, you tell them, hey, I know you, I've known you, I'm related to your cousin, and makes me your cousin. Most of them do not respond whatsoever, to the point where they don't answer the phone, or they have someone else answer the phone. I can tell they're like, tell them I'm not here. They will not answer. I think I talked to some of these relatives. I don't think they knew who I was. I'm your relative. They didn't talk to me. They didn't call me back, but a lot of these people are dead. Like, so I did my, I don't want to say due diligence. I did what I could to I did what I could to keep in touch, to send cards, kept the same phone number, kept the same address, had P.O. boxes, stuff that if I did move I could forward the mail and keep track of people's phone numbers and addresses and names and how they're related. I'm not a part of these people's lives. I'm not important to them. There's a lot of scapegoating. There's a lot of my parents talking garbage because people say, oh, this relative said this about me, this relative said this. This relative said you're not answering the phone. Like, what do you think? You think I'm in here all hungover, neglecting my kids or something? Like, we're all working and going to school. Did I not tell you I'm going to school to be a doctor and I was trying to get 3 different medical degrees at the same time? I wanted a research degree from my medical school. I was, for all I know, I'm on track to get that. 4 different, I was literally like, I took as many research classes as I can. Like, naturopathic, masters of Chinese medicine, masters. I think they had doctoral level. Naturopathic obstetrics, childbirthing, research. I was in medical school trying to get 4 medical degrees at the same time. As a person who's been in and out of homelessness over decades of time. Now it's been decades of being stuck in holiday programs. So to end this video, because it's depressing, I still tried. Last year I sent a card at the last minute, and then I got a card back. They're like, okay, there's only one person that sends a card if they do at all. And to tell you the truth, I love these people and I miss these people. And I wish it could have worked out, but it's like a partner that, it's not working out. I mean, God tells everybody to come back and reconcile. You don't have to be friends, you don't have to talk. But reconciling would be nice. But if they're straight up toxic and dangerous and you want to get restraining orders, you're calling the police is camping out in front of your door and you're answering the phone. Like, I'm at one job, about to leave one job. I'm on the clock. I got managers watching me on the floor, on the phone, talking to police, and you're threatening me. I'm the bad guy because I'm working, paying my rent by myself, paying for my car, paying for my health insurance, going from one job, go in the car, change clothes and shoes, and go out to Pizza Hut and work until night. I'm just doing what I was supposed to be doing, staying clean and sober. Working a program, having a spiritual path, even if it was not as religious as this and the church that would make up man-made things for you to feel guilty about. I'm not against some things, but I definitely got brainwashed about things just like that. Salmon, did you do this on purpose? There's something in my guts telling me something's not a coincidence. There's other relatives here and there. I just kind of pretty much gave up on. And I gave up on trying to keep in touch, especially as the older folks started dying off when I was 21. I mean, older folks died off, but my mom, and my aunt, her sister died. And I was the next in line, me and my cousin who were a week difference. It made me gulp and turn really, really, like, I was wearing, like, my mom and my grandma's clothes. Like, I was, like, felt like I had jumped into retirement age and that I was taking care of my kids. And like I was a grandma instead of their mom, instead of their 20-something-year-old mom. So all the abuse and all the stuff from my marriage and ex-husband and fleeing abusive people, because I was abused. My mom abused me regularly, whipped me, beat me, especially when my dad and brother left in '87. My dad retired, my brother went to college in '87, so they were not in the house regularly, like for days or weeks at a time, months for my brother, but the abuse was very, very bad. I had no support network, no one to say, hey, this is going on. And I jumped into a relationship where both of our parents were sick with cancer, and I went to get married and had children, and stuff was also controlled during that. That's a whole nother story, but my parents took away my childhood, the innocence of youth. They took away me being able to run around outside with other kids, because I wasn't allowed to do anything. Barely allowed to do anything. Go to school to learn, but my school was also my socializing, because I wasn't allowed to do summer parties. I was not allowed to hang out with people. I wasn't allowed to have people come over, very rarely. And the abuse continued, and the really poor treatment of me and my mom's hatred of me was throughout my life, throughout her life and my life, till I couldn't even go home during college break. Starting as soon as I went to college, it was so lonely staying break in the dorms. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't leave the dorm because I didn't know if I'd get locked out, and the campus was vacant. Just sitting in a dark, quiet dorm room where there's supposed to be thousands of people. The whole campus just... I hurt for myself back then. I wanted to give myself a hug. But the way I was treated by the world and my family, hugs were done by one person, that was Grandma. And she didn't really even talk to me. It was not words. She did talk to me, I think, when she was younger and I was younger, on the phone sometimes. So that was a special treat. My other grandma talked to me on the phone sometimes. Maybe for a holiday. Put the little kid on the phone, you know. I appreciate it. I don't know what their mental status was. I don't know. Children should be seen and not heard mentality. What my parents could told me. Or told them, sorry. So I feel like my childhood was robbed from me. And if there's something I could do, like watch TV, then I'd binge watch all the time. All the time. If I was allowed to read books, I'd read all the time. If I was allowed to go outside, I'd go outside until I had to come in, no matter how frozen my hands and feet were. And start itching really bad, causing frostbite. I tried to dress my kids properly for outside. I couldn't find gloves one time, just to put socks on my kids' hands. Like, this is lame. It's like, we're homeless, we're poor, we're living in a shelter, we gotta pay rent, we're not out buying gloves. I'm sure we probably had some, probably couldn't find them, but we might not have. You realize that when it snows and you want to make snowballs, and you're like, you need to put on your wish list that you want gloves. And from Dollar Tree, something's better than nothing, right? Then I always try to get stuff too big, and that's not fun because then they just fall off. Pants fall off, shoes fall off. It's like, we can't only afford this once every couple of years, guys. But we didn't have, there's a prayer right there. We didn't have people, we were sending everybody pictures of my kids, not to get, money or cards or gifts, but to let people know how we're doing and what's going on. And when my relatives had kids, other people, they didn't reciprocate. They didn't have to. But I was like, I don't even know your kid's name. I don't even know what they look like. They invite each other to the family reunions without me. But now that you get this 36 minutes, you see there are some issues. There are some pain that I'm holding back tears from. The severe loneliness, antisocial behavior, depression, feeling like you never fit in, ugly duckling, and it hurts every day, especially during the holidays. And a lot of days I just tinker around with something that's not drugs and alcohol, even if it's work, especially during school, trying to do those 4 degrees that I ended up with. 2 of them leave absence on one, and the other one I looked into, and I'm like, I should have done it right then, because there was a really small class size, the research one. I was really wanting to do that, because I had a huge passion for research. Huge passion. I had to take what I could get, being a single mom, being flat broke, having the system raise my rent hundreds of dollars a month, and my income went to zero. Pain, just absolute pain. They scrutinize, if you get a loan check from your school that you gotta use to pay for books and room and board, they will look at that as income, and they will scrutinize your bank account statements, and they will ask, every resource will ask you how much you have in your bank account, how much have you had for the past year, 6 months, 3 months. And if they see that you got a check for $6,000, they're like, you don't qualify, you're not allowed to have money. And I would write, hey, I'm a student, this is not money, this is not earnings, I have to pay this back. This is basically like a line of credit, or a credit card. And it was really hard to deal with it. A lot of that money went to the interest payments I was paying off that I don't even know got counted. Literally. Like, that's a scary thought. To be paying a lot of interest off and not have it actually go off. Because it consolidates some of that stuff, or compounded, I don't even know the words. So going back to the Mia's Empire and this social club, like, I want to find some like-minded individuals who can, like I said, iron sharpens iron, and talk about, I tell people that I am in pain because of events, because of thoughts, something that's not physically, I'm physically in pain right now, but nothing's hurting me right now, like nothing's poking me. And I know that I'm not unique, I'm not alone. I'm not saying it's just me, or me, it's only me, that why doesn't everyone help me? It's just like when homeless people say, people don't see us. Why me? Why don't they help me? Like, we know that we aren't alone, we know that we're not the only ones. But sometimes you gotta turn on, like what I learned about narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder, narcissistic abuse. 2016, I learned also that some of these conditions or human qualities or human terms we put on people's individuality that could be categorized into, oh, a lot of people have that. I found that I skewed towards not doing self-preservation, but pushing all my energy to someone else. So I was like, maybe you need to do a little bit of narcissism. Maybe you do need to look in the mirror and make sure that you don't have weird stuff on your face when you go out in public. Like, It wasn't a personality disorder or an abuse. It was you're skewed. You want to be in the middle of the road, not too much and not too little. Different things, compassion. Trying to go help people that fall. Run into a burning building, like, you could be a hero. But, a firefighter don't have any equipment, don't have any oxygen. Now, one person may or may not be in the home, and then the second person, me, will perish. Like, why did she do that? She didn't even think. She just dropped everything and did it. Like, oh. She left her own family. She jeopardized her own health, and I do that. I was taking the blame for a lot of people's stuff. And now when I fight back, it's like, you gave me the wrong food. I'm having allergic reactions, just trying to take pictures of it and just trying to see if I can pull out some lettuce, I don't have any guinea pigs here. I don't even know what else to put on there. Spices, I don't know what's on there. So then when I speak up for myself and I know I've been wrong, I'm honest. If I did the wrong, I would admit it, and I still ask for help. Oh my God, can you give me 20% off or something? I messed up, but I would ask because I know I didn't mess up, but I'm being blamed and I'm being punished for it. So now I speak up, just like I did with my relatives, and they retaliate hardcore. And what happens? I speak up for myself, I defend myself. I say no means no. And I cry. Cry, cry, cry. Cry, cry. Cry, 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 cry. Or I want to cry. Other people that comes naturally. Hey, you stepped on my foot. I'm going to tell you stepped on my foot. What? Buddy, some people just say, hey, why did you do that? Did you do that on purpose? Why did you do this? Not okay. Don't do it again. For me, I'd be so angry and stuff that feeling like it's a fireball. Burn my own self. Instead of releasing it, you don't have to release it toward the person who did you wrong. But for me, I feel like you have to release it into the energy, into the air, or into the dirt, or exercise, sweat it out. We can't live like this. My cabinets weren't empty, my fridge wasn't empty, there's very little that I can eat. I thought I was going to have a lot of food to eat the last 3 days of the year, and my food never came, and I got charged for it. So I said to myself, hey, my stomach looked a tiny bit smaller, maybe it's because I was walking by a mirror and I sucked it in, but I said, hey, maybe there's something in that food that would have gave you food poisoning. Hey, maybe there was, maybe someone was sick with some disease or didn't wash their hands. I would have gotten something from the bathroom, Who knows? I'm trying to justify the reason for things. So far, a lot of stuff went well. I was scared that if I went to try to go, they didn't offer for me to come over there and get any food. But if I were to, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, I'll get in a car accident. Oh my God, this car's going to spin around. I was not in my car because my car is not here yet. And when I get it here, I'm going to be scared to go very far because I'm going to potentially have to be jump starting it. And so when my daughter's not going to be here, I just gotta, but I probably have to get it today or tomorrow, whether I like it or not. Maybe Saturday, I don't know. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change it around. There's this Ford family rural business. I don't know if it's a non-profit. I'm gonna flip through this. I want to come back to you guys because I want to build my castle. I want to build my empire. I want to have a club. I want to be healthy. I want to stop giving up, holistically giving up, because I've been pounded and I look like a weak target. And we fight back. If I fought someone in sparring and the other person is very, very strong. Their defense and offense is like excellent. I mean, there could be something like David and Goliath where I'm like, bing, and they fall down. And I'm like, okay. But I can keep trying and just get beat down and get beat down and keep trying, give it my all, get exhausted. First time I did that, or not the first time, but one of the first time I did it as an older adult, I almost threw up. Being beat up so much. Then I was like, hit so many times in my arms and legs. It was one of the worst pains. Taekwondo tournament. I always wonder why when I punch them square right in the chest, they don't block it. Why don't I get a point for that? Or if I kick them, side kick them, poof, hit him right in the bullseye. The referee waits. Then I block him for like 10 minutes and they finally like kick me in the back or in the groin and they get a point, 3 points, they won. I never won it. I think I should have had a coach watch and say, why am I not getting points? Why is it always 0? When I'm like, boom, boom, boom. Like, one thing about being short and kind of small is you can be real fast. You can go in, go out. When you're tall and big, you can go like this and reach your opponent without having to do as much effort. You do that with little kids. You just hold them when you're in Taekwondo with little kids. Keep your foot out, and they can't reach your core, right? But they can. They used to let them gang up on us. That was an awful nightmare. But these little kids, they see you as a big monster, and they will not hold back. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's probably. I think you should hold back when you're sparring, because if you're very strong, because I think you get injured with your allies. But I don't know. I'm not the teacher. We all have different strengths, different parts of our bodies, and different ways that we do that defense so that we build up the kind of calluses. I'm gonna go look through this book, and I guess I'm gonna sit down and read some of this. I was gonna call somebody, but I don't feel they're another person on my site. They keep telling me how crappy this stuff in my life is, and I'm like, what I have, I don't want to trade it. Like, car, people tell me, crappy car, crappy home, crappy relationship, crappy, oh, you need another coat, you need that, like, I got it, your shoes aren't gonna, are you gonna buy me some shoes? Like, didn't think so. It is what it is. It keeps my feet up off the ground. For now. Keeps my feet up off the ground, and my passion is to do medicine, work, deliver babies, work a lot, and enjoy my time off, and get out of depression and do whatever I can to see if there's some way that I can support the underserved population, especially homeless people that are not gonna throw their coffee at me or beat me up or cuss me out or call me derogatory names or racial slurs. I can't control that, but when I was homeless, I wanted help, and I was like, I will do what I have to do. Tell me there's a program, tell me there's a job, I will go to it. Give me a bus ticket that's going to take me 3 hours to the next time to apply for a job, I will do it. And not very little times I get the job. I did the footwork but didn't get the compensation. And that still happens now. And that's why I want to build Mia's castle and Mia's empire, because I need to get rid of the low-hanging fruit. I need to get rid of the calluses. I need to go get rid of the recycling and the trash. Then go through your personal items. People go through their jewelry. Like, my mind's like, just get rid of the junk. Sweep the house. Get rid of the dust. The dander. Wash the dishes. Wash the sheets. Before I go through this notebook over here, I'm going to go through this crate. I'm just going to take everything out, maybe, unless it's all the same thing, put it right back just to see what I have. I might go to a meeting in like 3 hours. I think less than 2 hours. I can take a 5-minute shower. I need to wash my hair, but take a 5-minute shower. Throw on some clean clothes. and just get in the car and go, or not. Because I want to cook the food that we do have, prepare, put it in the dehydrator before the food I actually got goes bad. And then go ahead and I might stop eating at that one restaurant. And the reason I started looking at that restaurant that did it wrong is I was eating there for years. They do have 2 raw food options and some juices, but they're super expensive, so I didn't get them. I wanted to get a dessert. They don't tell you what's in it. I wanted to use the card, $15 card. I got 2 for my lunch, one from August and one from December, I think, or November. And they had DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. So this was the only one that delivered from there. So I kept looking at it, and I couldn't figure out how to use the gift card, so I just ordered twice. I got one order, thank God, but the second one I didn't. And that food, when I was sick, coming from being sick with COVID, I was so grateful for it. Because it gave me more energy and I didn't have to be prepping food and cleaning out a bunch of dishes and cutting boards. And you saw me, I was exhausted, but I feel like I'm being swallowed up whole by a hole. It's like I'm slipping, but you gotta grab on. And like I said the other day, what are the ultra wealthy doing? Why aren't I getting my $89 whatever refund? Why do they deny it multiple times? So I had to call my bank and let them know what happened. The restaurant promised to make it right. They didn't. They didn't do anything. I just gotta think about where I was a few years ago. And the more that I've been clean and sober, the more educated I get, the worse I feel successful. I feel like being in the shelters and seeing pictures of myself in my 20s and being active with 2 little kids and getting involved, meeting people, calling people on phone lists, going to potlucks at recovery houses. I still didn't really make friends, but I was exhausted though. I was dragging my kids around in a stroller, they were falling asleep, but it kept me clean and sober, I can tell you that. And my relationship with my higher power and myself, I need to add myself doing my program. If I have a hybrid program, it's like a hybrid religion that has recovery, Protestant, Christian, Quakerism, and non-denominational, and Buddhism. And I learned stuff from Muslims, different things that are like the same. I learned stuff from Hindus, different things, different words, different language. A lot of things the same prophets. So I have a hybrid, so I'm going to make my life hybrid. I'm going to do the Clio Wave. I got 2 business email things I got to look at. I do Clio Wave here, Clio Wave there. Get a DEA and DC. Get my naturopathic whole license and midwifery license. Take them out. Get it in DC. When they call me to a birth, go to work. Keep it simple. You got some wipes. You get called to a birth. Grab your cinnamon toothpicks. Get some wipes, wipe your side out. Put some deodorant on them. Don't necessarily count on any delivery. I ordered a bag of lemons. No, I ordered a bag of oranges once, so I think they gave me 1 lemon. Instacart. So I haven't got out much. I might regret it. But there's something going on with me. I get scared because I see other women having similar symptoms, and then they suddenly die of cancer. And I get like, fight it. They're tired at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Someone I know, you go look back at what they said. Oh, I was sick. Oh, I just didn't feel. Oh, I was tired all the time. Abnormally thin. They wanted to be thin, but they were abnormally thin. And boom, they get diagnosed with cancer. They died. And that rest potentially kept them alive a little bit longer to enjoy their loved ones. And it doesn't, if you rest and you live 1 month or 10 years or another 100 years, it's part of life. And I have to do the basics. Get back to the basics. Get back to the powerlessness over other people, places, and things. And powerless over myself. I could go exercise for 3 days and say, why didn't I lose 10 pounds? Well, you're powerless. You did the best you could with what you had, and you did it safely. And if it worked a little bit, you keep doing it and tweaking it. If it didn't work at all, maybe it'll work in 2 years. Do something else. So I have to get back to the basics. I have to remember where I came from. I'm absolutely burnt out from that life. That you could see my earlier videos made for medical school, single parent. Absolutely burnt out. And middle-aged vision came at age 45. I'm 47. This year I'll be 48. This year coming up. Wow. Like, I guarantee I'll make it to my birthday. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is I don't feel rejuvenated. I don't feel organized. But I do feel a bit of hope. I still have a bit of faith. And I'm being a little bit rebellious about not going out, but I feel like there's some little parks close by. If anything, if I could just walk around and sit on a bench with a video game on my phone, even if I did that out in the yard, just take a chair from the kitchen, just go, sit on a bucket if I have to. But I really don't want to. I want to clean. I want to exercise inside. I want to do my paperwork. I want to go through and declutter and just run stuff to the dumpster over and over into the recycling. That's what I want to do. I want to make food for myself and everybody else. That's what I feel like doing. And then while I'm doing that, when I need to sit down, clean off this dust, and go ahead and just get this business, get these appointments finalized, get this people's paperwork out to them and back, get their insurance information looked up, and then after the first I can look it up again. I can check and see if they have out-of-state benefits, go through my my list, and do the wait list for people that have out-of-state benefits or whatever the rules are. If they can get in before the end of the year, and then also I was working on a business license. So 2 states I haven't worked in. There's 3 states I haven't worked in. You have to pay for business registration. So I'm gonna look at some of them. They're in April. They reset. So look at the price of that. Oh, that's expensive. Look at the price of that. But if I don't register by April, If I did it as a sole proprietor, some insurance companies want you to do it as a sole proprietor, I found out. Look at it for January, February, March, April. Or is it due, what? Look at the dates it's due. If I did it right now, and I can't do the work until January, I'll just say 3 or 4 months. Is it worth it to save the $200 and not work, to not be available for work, or is it worth it to just do the application? I wish they'd prorate this stuff. Do the application. They might not get here before a month. That's my cue.